Morning. So today I'm in the Lake District in the UK. It's an absolutely stunning day as well. Sun's out, but it's still a little bit chilly. And the reason why I'm here is tomorrow is the Fred Whitton Challenge. And if you haven't heard of the Fred Whitton, it's one of the toughest sportives in the UK, and it's one of my favourite events of all time. It's a really grueling event that takes in all the major passes of the Lake District. It's about 112 miles long and has about 4,000 meters of climbing, including gradients that are like 30% and 25%, so it's proper savage. And the event is a really nice event as well, because it's got a good sort of community spirit in the Lake District around it, and it was organised in memory of a chap called Fred Whitton, funnily enough, who had a sort of untimely death in 1998, and the event was originally set up by the Lakes Road Club in his memory, and it's grown from strength to strength from there, and now it's run by Human Race, who are one of the biggest event promoters in the UK. Look at this essential bike Instagrammage going on. Coming to a gram near you. There's 30% gradients and 25% gradients in Fred Whitton. Joe has fitted a 55 tooth chainring. What?
Yeah.
Joe, why have you fitted a 55 tooth chainring?
Because it looks incredible. Look at it. Gold chain as well.
Gold chain? Yeah. Oh man.
Style over speed.
We're just at the start of the event, the day before, and we're going to register and sign on and get our race packs and stuff. Bridgewood. It's this little bit they've added on this year. It wasn't there before.
Started it off with the Lakes Road Club. First ride we had 75 people, club members. Never thought we'd do it again. The next year we had 200, 400. This year we had 5,000 people apply.
5,000?
For the 2,500 places. Swedes, Norwegians, French, Italian, Belgian, Dutch. We've had a few Spanish here, just in ones and twos.
So with the overseas entry, is that because you're trying to encourage more international people to come to the event?
Absolutely. We want to show them the Lake District off, as well as our event. One of the biggest surprises to us was that 20% of all people that answer our survey, 20% of them have never been to the Lake District before, which we find is amazing.
It's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is, we're bringing them to the Lake District, we're showing them the absolute best places in the Lake District. They're going to come back.
Best roads.
It's the best advertisement we can do for sort of tourism in the Lake District, and they love it.
There's just something really special about the Fred. What do you think it is that makes the Fred Whitton such an amazing and special event?
Well, I think a lot of it originally does come from Fred and all the friends he had and the things he did. We've just sort of continued the work on that Fred did, but obviously we've done this in the area where cycling's been boosted or has really gone over the top, so that's made it better all round. We support the charities, the four main charities we support, but we also support youth cycling in all its forms, from handicap cycling to girls race teams to boys race teams. So we're doing exactly the thing that Fred was trying to do, but now we've actually got the money to do it.
I'm just getting my nutrition ready ahead of tomorrow's ride, because nutrition is, I mean, absolutely essential, getting that right on a big long ride where you're pushing the whole time round, which is what we're going to be doing. The latest research suggests that the body can only take in about 60 grams of carbs per hour. That's all you can process. So what I like to do, and this is, you know, what works for me, is we've got the sort of Cliff bars here, because I really like Cliff bars, and some naked bars as well, and then we've got some electrolyte drink, which is just sugar really and maltodextrin in there, and we've got the gels, and then the shot blocks from Cliff, which are great, and they contain a bit of salt and also some caffeine, and then the caffeine gels. My sort of nutrition strategy is as follows, and this is something that I've devised over a lot of rides, and it's what works for me. I do like to start out with solid food and bars. If I just eat gels from the start, they start to get very sickly and don't sit as well in my stomach, I find. So I start off with the bars and the Cliff bars and naked bars, and always sipping my energy drink, and then I sort of move on to the gels and stuff. And then before I get to Hardknott, probably about an hour before I get to Hardknott, I'm gonna take a caffeine gel. I'll have 2 bottles on my bike. One will have the electrolyte mix drink in there, and then I like to have a bottle that's just water as well, just because sometimes you start to feel a little bit bloated, and the more sugar you take on, it draws water out of the rest of your bloodstream and into your stomach to help digest the food. Eat what you like. Like, if there's foods that you enjoy eating, like I like eating the Cliff bars, they taste great, and I like getting those down, they feel good in my stomach, and go for that, you know. Don't struggle your way through things that you don't like. Bananas, I also like bananas as well, but they're just a little bit bulky in your pocket. We're at the start of the Fred Whitton this morning. It's a nice, it's a bit fresh, but we're looking forward to it, and it's going to warm up a little bit. So we're a little bit chilly right now, but can't wait. How are you guys feeling?
Great, can't wait.
Yeah? All right, let's go. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So on the day of the event, you can set off any time between 6 AM and 8 AM. There's a window and there's timing mats, and we set off at 6:53 according to the timing mat, so about halfway in between. And the reason for that is we didn't want to set off first thing, because it meant that we get a bit more time in bed, and also it warmed up a little bit. We set off out the gate, and the guys I'm with all set a good pace, and we're working well together. There was myself, my good mate Chris Bartlett, who you may remember from other videos, and also Joe, who's an absolute hitter with his 56 tooth chain ring. And also we're joined by a guy called Carl Alexander, who's a sort of pro triathlete, endurance triathlete, and well, Ironman sort of distance, and former elite cyclist. So he was very strong, so it was nice to have him working with us as well. He did some mega turns. But we set off up Hardknott Pass, which is the first main climb of the day, and we kept it pretty steady up there. We were setting a brisk pace, but we were, you know, all keeping it together and trying to help each other and work together. And then, you know, took the descent, you know, at a decent pace as well, but keeping safe because there's a lot of people on the road. And the next climb, as you go past Ullswater, which is stunning, you go up Matterdale End, which is the view backwards. If you get a chance when you go up it, look backwards and you'll see the view of Ullswater. It's incredible. So you go up Matterdale End, and that's a sort of fairly steady climb, and then that heads onto the A66, and that is probably the fastest part of the route, and that's where Joe and his monster 56 tooth chain ring came in real handy. We all just sort of sat in behind him, and it was like sitting behind a motorbike, because he's a really good time trialist as well, Joe. So he just sat there chugging away. We just got a nice tow along the A66 at 60 kilometers an hour. pretty useful friend to have. And then next you go through Keswick, and then we're up going over Hardknott Pass. And Hardknott Pass is the first real brute of the day. You come out the village of Seatoller, and the first section is about 400 meters at 25%, and I mean, people are getting off and walking on Hardknott, and I mean, it's justifiable. It's an incredibly tough climb, but you know, those guys walking at that point, they've got a long day ahead, and it just shows you how hard the Fred Whitton is. So, but once you get past that first 25% section, it does ease off a bit, and then you get up to the top of the slate mine, and then we managed to keep it all together up there, and we were trying to, you know, Joe was the strongest rider we had on the flat, and then the rest of us were sort of a bit stronger than Joe on the climbs. So we were deliberately trying to keep it together and not go too crazy, so that, you know, Joe can really put his 56 tooth chainring to use on the flat bits. So we managed to do that pretty well, and then we came off Hardknott Pass, and the first bit of the descent is really dangerous because it's really steep, and unfortunately I think there was a casualty on the day. Some guy came off there, so I hope he's okay. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm guessing since we haven't heard anything, he's okay. But yeah, take care on that if you ever do the event. But then after the initial really steep part of that descent, it opens out into a valley, and it's nice and fast and flowing. That then takes you past Buttermere, which is the first feed stop. We didn't stop there because we all felt okay. And then we carried on up Newlands, which was, you know, is another test. It's easier than Hardknott, it's shorter than Hardknott, but it's still a tough climb with 25% gradients again. And then you have the nice run in through that valley through to Braithwaite, which then takes you up Whinlatter. It's a nice sort of alpine climb, and the support up there at Whinlatter was amazing. There was loads of people cheering on the side of the roads, loads of cowbells, and just, I mean, it's like riding in a professional event, you know, that like a top race. The people cheering you on up there, I mean, it lifts you, it really does, and it's great. And a lot of them are locals, and it's so good to see that the locals are incredibly positive about the event and get behind it. So thanks for everyone that goes out and cheers the event. It's great. And we also had my mate Jordan at the top of Whinlatter, who gave us bottles and food and stuff, because we figured that would be quicker, and we just swapped out the bottles, got a few gels, got a few bars and things we needed, and then it was like a good sort of 20-30 second pit stop, and then we pressed on, and we continued to press on doing turns. The next bit is always the bit that you forget about in your head, I think, if you do the Fred Whitton. You've got the big climbs out the way, and then the Cold Fell area, there's often a really strong wind around there, and it's often really tough. But fortunately, it wasn't that. I remember thinking when we were riding it, it's the least windy I've ever found it up there. You come back round to the final feed station at Calder Bridge, and then it's the run-in through Eskdale to Hardknott Pass, which is the main event. That whenever you do Fred Whitton, you've always got Hardknott Pass in the back of your head. You're thinking, am I going to make it up Hardknott Pass? Like, how much energy should I save while riding the rest of the route in order to save a bit for Hardknott? Because you're going to need to save a bit. It's brutal. It's a 10 out of 10 climb. It seems like most people walk up it or walk up part of it, and I have to admit, when I've done Fred Whitton in the past, I have walked up Hardknott Pass. When I did it 2 years ago, you know, I did a decent time. I did 6.5 hours, and which I was absolutely thrilled with, but that did include walking up the steepest bit of Hardknott Pass. I got up it, and then just on the sort of the steepest bit after the hairpin corner, all my muscles in my legs just started cramping. My legs just started spasming, and I had to do this like really sort of uncoordinated, unglamorous double unclip with both of my legs in one go, like, and just drop my feet to the ground, and just try and recover, because I was just in bits, cramping all over the place. So yeah, fortunately I recovered, shook it out, and managed to get going again. But oh, you know, I've walked up Hardknott Pass. You know, a lot of people have walked up Hardknott Pass. There's no shame in it, but it is nice to get to the top without walking, because when you do that, it doesn't matter who you are, you feel this rush, this euphoric rush of like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And Hardknott Pass, just, there's not many climbs that have the power to do that. If you can get up Hardknott Pass without walking, you can get up anything. I was definitely finding it very hard, and the other efforts were, you know, taking their toll, and I'd probably been up to that point writing checks that my body can't cash. And all I could do was sort of grovel up there and watch Chris and Carl just sort of, you know, put a big gap into me and just absolutely smash it up there, and I just couldn't go with them, unfortunately. But when you get to Hardknott Pass, if you're riding with people, it's just every man for themselves, and we sort of all agreed on that, I think. Like, but I managed to sort of grovel my way up to the top, and then and managed to recover a bit in the valley, and then get over Rhinos, sort of get over the new climb of Bleed Tarn, which is new to the route. So previously the route just went through Little Langdale, and now this year the route's actually a bit longer than what it was before. It goes over Bleed Tarn, adds another 25% climbing, but sort of by that point the adrenaline was kicking in. I knew I was going to finish, and I knew I was on for a good time, and I was buzzing. So I just thought, right, let's just smash it and get it done. And my legs came back and I flew down, and then the views over Bleed Tarn as well, just absolutely stunning. That's an overwhelming thing about this ride, is that the environment just has this power to spur you on, because you're in such a beautiful place, and it's beautiful even when it's raining, to be honest. So I powered on to the finish and just sort of got into time trial mode in the last few miles, and managed to get there and do 5:58 was my time, 5 hours 58 minutes. And yeah, I didn't know that at the time when I crossed the line, but that was actually the 3rd fastest time of the day, behind Chris and Carl, who'd got away from me on Hardknott.
Fred Whitton completed it, mate. It's just been an amazing day. It's such a brilliant event. Like, we just love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no event like it in the country, in the world.
You find stuff out about yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
That you never knew before when you do this route. But the thing I want to say is that, like, we've done it in quite a quick time compared to a lot of people today. But I think the bigger achievement is the people that, I mean, anyone that completes it's amazing, and there's like a mutual respect for anyone that completes it, but some people take like 12 hours to do this, and that, like, is so many more calories, it's so much more saddle time.
On budget bikes, with maybe not as much confidence.
Yeah, I mean, fair play, like, it's a mega achievement to do the Fred, and it's just an incredible event, highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
Feeling good? Enjoy that? Sorry about that, mate, but you're doing so well.
I first rode the Fred Whitton course about 10 years ago, and this wasn't part of the event. I just went and rode it with some friends, and it took me over 8 hours to do it. And since then I've done the event a number of times over the years, and I've got progressively faster. I remember I did it about 6 years ago and did 7:19 or something like that, and which I was really proud of when I achieved that. I was like, oh yeah, really done well there today. And I remember looking at the times done by the fastest people there, and the fastest time was routinely set by a guy called Rob Jebb. He's a multiple winner of the epic and legendary Three Peaks cyclocross race. He's a phenomenal athlete, and I would see him doing between sort of 6 hours, 6 hours 10 for the Fred course, and just being in absolute awe of that. I just remember thinking, oh my god, that guy must be so strong. Like, he's an incredible athlete, and just thinking I could never get anywhere near that. So, for me to do the event and do a time that's comparable to what Rob Jebb would do, for me that's just bizarre. Like, I sort of struggling to comprehend it, really. I'm immensely sort of proud of myself, but I have been improving over the years. I've been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I've put a lot of work into that. But it's not all down to fitness. A large part of it is down to me getting fitter and stronger over the years, but also we need to talk about equipment. Now, as mentioned, I opted for an aero bike setup, and this seems counterintuitive for an event that has over nearly 4,000 meters of climbing and consistent gradients of 25 and 30% scattered throughout it. It seems rather counterintuitive, and I'll admit that in the back of my mind I did have doubts about an aero setup being faster. But, and this is part of the reason why I chose the Scott Foil rather than the Scott Addict to be the bike that we were sponsored with, was because every single aerodynamics expert I spoke to all said the same thing, which is that over sort of any mountainous course or rolling course, an aero bike is always going to be faster, despite the fact that they usually weigh between 500 and 700 grams more than the equivalent climbing bike. It should be pointed out though that the mathematics, aerodynamics experts do say that a lightweight climbing bike can still offer a significant advantage over an aero bike in an uphill time trial. I should also point out that Carl and Chris, who I rode with, were also on aero bikes, so kind of a victory for aero bikes really. I understand that I'm in a very privileged position to be able to ride that kit and test it out, but for me it's a very interesting thing because all the marketing we're sold is that aero bikes are faster, so I want to actually see for myself if it is faster, and that can help you guys make more informed choices when you're buying things in the future. But you don't have to buy any of this stuff. I have to stress that. Like an event like Fred is an amazing achievement. You can do it on any functioning road bike and you will gain the same level of satisfaction and accomplishment that you feel regardless of your time, because ultimately it's how it makes you feel when you push yourself, the way you get the satisfaction from. So, you know, to be honest, if I'd ridden the same ride and done 20 minutes slower through being on a different setup, I still would have felt as knackered at the end, and I still would have felt the same sense of achievement. So, you know, that's what the event is all about. So the Fred Whitton is an amazing event. It's brutally hard, it's, you know, savage, all the words you can think of to describe it. But with that comes an immense feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment that you get from completing it and getting to the top of Hardknott Pass and the other passes. And you know, nothing worth achieving is easy. I'm a big believer in that, and the Fred is not easy. It's really hard. It doesn't matter who you are as well. You know, even if you're 2012 Bradley Wiggins, you're still going to be struggling on those climbs. I hope we've inspired you to either visit the Lake District and cycle or try and do the event in the future. And if you've done the event in the past, then, you know, hats off, fair play to you, because it's brutally hard. I mean, but it's amazing. And one of the things that makes it amazing that I have to stress is all the volunteers and locals who help out and give up their time to be part of it. Without them, the event just wouldn't be the same. There's a real sense of community to the event, and it's incredibly friendly, and it's amazing to see an event where so much of the local community gets behind it and supports it. And you know, without you guys, it just would not be the same. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then why not subscribe to the Cycling Weekly channel and give it a thumbs up, as this will help us to make more content in the future. And also, perhaps check out the Project 49 video. You might like that. It's a video where I tried to ride 25 miles in under 50 minutes. It was hard. Do my Adam Buxton impression. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. So yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. I am absolutely battered, but I got my pie and beans now.
Should you go for cheese or mince?
Mince, yeah. Oh, I'm so battered.